Alright, so we're done with the link from the previous video, so let's go ahead and close that. We'll drag this up and we'll cycle back through our links and take a look at the size. So looking at this guy, I'm just thinking the big triangle, and I'll worry about the internal geometry. Going to be able to use some of these. Spacing of 1 inch with a radius of 1 inch. I'm going to assume that this side, oh yeah, 2 places. So spacing of 1 inch, and then the tangency. So we'll go ahead and build those up. Might do those with a fillet rather than trying to do the tangent arc, but we'll have enough enough information to get started here. So if I do the outside first, and again, might think about using the hole wizard for our pieces through the mounting holes, the 0.78, so that at some point, if we need to make those threaded or countersunk or do something different with it, that we would have that as an option in our geometry. So the triangle, and let's see, that corner, let's go this way so that when I use the fillets to knock those corners off, and we're going to need, let's see, escape out of that. Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and put those in. So fillet one, we can select the point, and the other, and still have it a little bit small, but we'll go ahead and from the arc to the base is going to be the 15.37, and then from the arc to the side is going to be 13.77. All right, so that'll give me the starter geometry. This material is 1/2 inch thick. Accept, pick the face, open up our next sketch, and let's go ahead and just do some offsets here. So probably not going to need, let's see, 0.5 and all around, and they gave us that on the centers, but let's go ahead and offset the entities, 0.5, and let's see, not seeing a preview there. So usually if I reverse or do the tab, let's see which way it goes. Offset model edges. All right, didn't like something there, so let's try them one at a time. Maybe it's because they're not connected, or it would eliminate something. So let's go offset, and then there's our reverse, and we'll go 0.5 and 0.5. And sort of like the convert, offset entities are not, they show as fully defined, but if you need to move them, they are movable. So let's go ahead and drag those back a little bit. Again, we don't really have that angle or that radius. I want to say, let's see, tangent is probably not going to work, but I could possibly do a 3-point arc and drag that out if I wanted to put a radius. So I'm just guessing here. I would be fine with putting a line in there and just calling it good. But if I make that tangent and that tangent, and going to say that's going to kind of reverse on itself. Oh, no, I need to go that way first. Select, control select, and coincident. Select, control select, and coincident. All right, so that's a what if on the 1 inch. That still doesn't look quite the same. Maybe because the fillets will consume a lot of that. All right, well we'll see what we get. And then 14 inches. All right, and then we have one line coming across. Probably didn't want that midpoint, but we'll come back and catch it. Let's see, I'm just going to hit L on the keyboard to jump in since it was continuous. All right, so our height is 5.5, and again, I'm not too worried about trimming any of that out. Showing 8 inches to the top. It looks like there's a little bit of a mismatch there, but let's see what we have. And then 5 inches to the outside. And it is called out as 5.54, so that is a little bit of a mismatch. So all around, maybe not typical on the inside. Well, let's see what this measures. If we go from point to point, selecting those, that still comes out to 0.5. All right, so we've got our cut regions established. So let's go ahead into the features, extrude cut. Up to next, it went thin feature. If it'll let me out of the thin feature, mainly because of the contours regions, but I should be able to activate the selected contours, pick, and go ahead and hit OK. All right, so our inside geometries, our radiuses, all fillets are 1 inch. All right, and the radius of 1 inch, don't see anything weird going on there. So I don't want the face, I want to make sure, and this would be someplace that if we were having trouble selecting, this would be a good time to use the filters, which if I hit F6, oh, I'm not seeing, there they are. F5 turns them on, F6 toggles them active and deactive, activates them. And I could go to edges, so faces, edges, or hit E on the keyboard. And that would allow me to only select. So there are times where if you hit an E or an X on the keyboard and it goes into the filters, it's not going to be really apparent other than, let's do that real quick, and that you're going to get the little funnel. So if you see the funnel for the filter, that is a good indicator that you have activated one of those filters. All right, so here we ought to be able to see the preview, and those are the internal on that face. Those are all of the internal loops, so that looks pretty good. And I think I just had the partial preview. All right, so that looks okay. Oh, and I didn't do any geometry, so let's go ahead and save that just to make sure. And this is going to be the holder side. And save it. All right, so the fillets look good, but I want to go ahead and put in my hole locations first. There are times where the fillets are changed or they're not tolerance the same, that it would create a little bit of an issue with having things shift. And manufacturing wise, when things shift, it's not usually a good outcome. All right, so whole, simple. We're going to go to fractional, and I recognize that the 0.56 is 9/16. All right, if we don't, we just go through those, and if you look at these numbers enough, they will start to seep into your memory. So positions, we're going to have the 0.56 at the center, and it says 2 holes. So which two? Because then, oh, that one's the radius. No, diameter 0.78. Oh, maybe that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Well, we got something going on there where it's a mismatch. Easy enough to change when we get to the assembly, but that is something we will want to check. So 0.56 looks pretty big on that corner. Oh, I did the offset, so that actually I missed the 0.75 there. So let's just go ahead and accept that one, and we're going to do a quick edit. All right, so this bottom has an offset. Let's see if we can identify it. Offset entities. And if I delete that constraint, I can remove the offset and change that to 0.75. It says it's found something there. So let's see why this won't move. Okay, there we go. All right, so that I want to say temporary, fully defined until I move that endpoint. It's not going to be happy with that geometry. So now we can put the 0.75 in, accept it. We'll go back and edit. And what you just saw me do is edit the sketch 3, which is probably my more normal habit. Until you get used to what everything is doing, I'm going to recommend you go back into the feature. And that still looks really well. I guess once the fillet goes back in, it won't be too bad. Let's see what we get. 0.375 and 0.5 in. And we'll accept that. All right, so there it looks really, really big and really close. So one of the things that I would check is even on the hex, that's going to look pretty good size. And when we do the base, we're going to have to identify some of those anyway. So we'll do a double check at that point as well. All right, and then 0.28. So we're looking for 9/32. And 28125, with an up to next. All right, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and there's a count or something going on there. So let's go ahead and make those 2. So select, control, select horizontal. And then those 2, select, control, select vertical. And then these 2, select, control, select horizontal. All right, so from the side, we'll start our dimensions, 0.25. And then assuming that that is centered, oh, there we go, 5.25. That's one of the reasons why dimensionally we don't really put dimensions on the drawing. I know it's kind of the way that the detail in the model, not so much of a concern, but when we're making the working drawing, having those dimensions. over, and then let's see, this looks like it is between the two hole locations. No, from there to there, 1.88. So tolerance-wise, that 5 thousandths is not going to make a big difference, but you are going to have to decide if you're going to fill out those other geometries or the other decimal places to define the geometry. So we know that the fractional is 1.875, and it would round to the 1.88. So if there's going to be a mismatch in the assembly, that's one of the places that they occur. All right, so still don't know where the fifth hole or the second hole is on this group, so we'll just go ahead and accept this and said we'll roll forward to the fillet. Now they come back. We have that. Oh yeah, the 0.78. So what does 0.78 work out to? Well, let's do the rollback one more time so it fits in position. The fillet doesn't go too crazy. And that's going to be our bigger number. It's going to be up there around 13. It's probably going to get into the 64th. So yeah, 25, 30 seconds. So that's an interesting number. And our position, we'll look for the center. And accept it. And then roll forward, all the internal fillets, nothing on the outside. All right, I think we got that pretty well defined. And so that little bit of mismatch, if there is one there, it's more of a perceptual. I'm okay with that. All right, so let's make sure to save the holder side, and we'll come back and do the